What is the funniest, real-life story you can tell? My friend, his parents and I all went out to eat for his dad's birthday a few months ago, and me and my friend finished our food early. So his mom gave us $10 and a milk coupon to run to Major to pick up a shower mirror and a gallon of milk. This Major was unfamiliar to us, so we ended up wandering for a while to find our stuff. And my friend tells me he has to shit, so he ran off to find a bathroom while I finished looking for the stuff we needed. 10 minutes had passed and I was standing near the self-checkout waiting for him to show up when finally he walks up from behind me, and I noticed he seemed a bit nervous. The first thing he says is, "Hey, so we're bros, right?" I responded, "Yeah, I guess so." "Why?" He looked me dead in the eyes and said, "I shit myself, dude." At first I thought it was a joke, but then he pulled his hand from his pocket revealing a shit-covered $10 bill, coupon, and palm. He says, "Dude, I couldn't find the bathroom and it just slipped out." When I asked what he did with the shit, he looked around to make sure nobody else was listening and said I threw it on the shelf and ran. This was the icing on the cake to my hysterical locker dead center in Major. He left to go clean up while I delicately handled the non-shit covered side of the money, and we left to find his parents waiting outside, pretty pissed off that we were so late. When we came up short on change, his mom asked why we didn't use the coupon. He pulled it slightly out of his pocket and said, "I don't know exactly how to tell you this, but..." Before he could finish, she interrupted with an angry, "You lost the coupon, didn't you? This is why I can't trust you to do things for me." He slid the poo-slathered coupon back to his pocket and muttered "Yeah, I lost it," with relief. I couldn't contain my giggling the whole way home. He was actually terrified he'd end up on the news or something. TLDR, friend accidentally shat himself at Major and threw it on the shelf in panic.
I was with a friend one night, pretty hammered, playing video games with him, also hammered, but he was on probation, and so he wasn't allowed to drink. Me and him have gone through many beer, and his parents come in to check on us, because it's late, and we were being pretty noisy, and one thing led to another, and they find out and instantly go berserk. Since I don't like dealing with berserk parents, and he was upstairs arguing with them, I had no way out except for the window. I decide to bail and climb out the window and start walking towards the bus stop. I make it to the bus stop around 11:45 p.m. and no bus has arrived yet, and most buses don't run past 1 o'clock a.m. I decide to stay at my girlfriend's for the night because it's closer and 2 buses still ran to get me there. So I depart on the first bus. I arrive halfway to my girlfriend's house, but when I got there, realized the next bus doesn't come until 12:45, and it was only 12 o'clock. It was also cold as balls out there, middle of winter in Alberta, so I do what any reasonable person would do at 12 a.m. Go up to the nearest apartment building and ring every single buzzer and tell them my Aunt Sylvia lives on floor 3 and I couldn't remember her apartment number. So after a little commotion, I make my way up the stairwell to floor 3 and lay down and look at Reddit to pass some time. I wake up 2 hours later to a conversation I heard in the apartment next to me. Keywords: hobo, sleeping, hallway. So I'm like, oh shit, they called the cops. What time is it? I gotta get the fuck out of here. So I ran down the stairs and out the back exit. As I come around the building, still totally hammered, I see a cop car pull up, and they didn't look at me twice. I was an innocent-looking 17-year-old. As soon as they come out of the building, ask them if they're heading towards the West End, because I missed the last bus, and so they said, "Yeah, we came from over there. Do you need a ride?" So I said, "Yes, I do." After riding in the back of their car for 15 minutes, they arrive at the station, and I depart on my way to my girlfriend's and make it there safe and sound. TLDR. Drunk me misses last bus because I fell asleep in a random apartment complex and have the cops called on me for being a homeless guy sleeping in the building. Get out of the building and catch a ride home with the cops that came to arrest me.
A friend of mine has the ultimate real-life story with a girl that was blackout drunk.
He was bartending and Chippendale strippers came to town. The bar had hired several of the college football players to bar back. Anyway, there is a group of girls at a table that had been drinking pretty heavy, and one of the girls upon ordering said it was their friend's 21st birthday. So he sent one of the football players with free shots to the table. The football player came back and said, birthday girl wants you to bring the drinks to their table. So he delivered them, and she was all excited. Fast FW'd to closing time. B-Day girl's friend tells him that B-Day girl wants him to take her home. Yeah, sure, no problem. He needed to just finish up closing.
So then he is taking her back to her apt. She is friggin' ripped. She says this is my apt. He begins to try every key on the key chain and none worked. He asks again, are you sure this is your apt? Drunkenly she says yes, just kick in the door. Well, being horny, he does. Upon walking in, he smells new leather. He asks, did you just get new couches? She replies, no, by this time she is all over him. Clothes are flying and he starts banging her on the couch. After a while, he feels something warm and thinks to himself, yeah, this girl just got hers. So after he finishes, he gets up and goes to the bathroom. This is where things begin getting good. Upon turning on the lights in the bathroom, he discovers exactly what that warmth she let out was. She had shit herself during coitus. Well, he just went ahead and got in the shower and cleaned up. Then he is looking for a towel and can't find one, so he walked into the kitchen and sees a kitchen towel and dried himself the best you can with a kitchen towel. Then he sees a picture on the counter of a black couple. Oh shit, he had broke into apparently black couple that was in the process of moving into their new apartment. So he promptly put on his clothes, tells her I had fun, but she was already passed out. Well, fast FWD a couple days, and the police are leaving his bar as he is arriving to get ready for his shift. Manager says, what happened with you and the drunk day girl? He said, took her home and banged her and then left. Manager tells him, well, she hasn't been in contact with her parents in a couple of days, and they are worried. He is thinking, oh shit. Well, a couple of weeks go by and he is out at a different club and thinks he sees her across the dance floor. She then makes eye contact with him and promptly covers her face and runs out of the club. TL. Drive my buddy actually fucked the shit out of a girl and may have committed a hate crime by accident.
A friend of my soon-to-be father-in-law are a bona fide fucking lunatic. Some guys had played a practical joke on him a few months back, and he'd been waiting to get revenge. They live on the central coast of NSW in Australia, so there's a lot of water that separates the towns and people use boats a lot to get around. Some of the guys who pulled a practical joke on him called around to see him and hang out. He'd recently bought a new place and said why didn't they drive around and have a look. He said he'd be around shortly after and they could have a few beers and chill out there. Just before they left, he said that his mother was there, but she was old and shit, and just to hang outside until he got there that she wouldn't notice and might get a fright as they called into the house. As soon as the guys drove off, he hopped in his boat and tore across the water to his place, as it was quicker than driving. He got to his place and threw on a dresser wig, some old boots, and grabbed his rifle. He hid in the house and waited for his friends to arrive. They arrive and are looking around the property when he bursts out of the house screaming like an old woman. The guys are about to try and calm her down when he cocks the rifle and starts letting shots off above their heads. They only realized it was him when they stopped screaming their heads off long enough to realize that the mother had literally keeled over laughing. They had all pretty much shit their pants. Two of the guys had bolted and were gone. He said it took them about an hour to get over the fright. Needless to say, they never pulled a practical joke on him again. Another one. These guys used to work on a building site. Their boss was really predictable and every day like clockwork would go to the same portaloo and have a crap. They started hooking the seat up to a battery, so he started getting an electric shock when he sat down on the seat. He stopped going to the portaloo and used to go to this spot in some woods nearby. They stalked him for a few days and realized he always went to the exact same spot. So one day, they put some dirt and leaves on a spade and hid in a ditch behind him. Apparently it took a few days, but bingo. One of the days he shit directly onto the spade, which they very quietly removed it, so there was nothing on the ground. Apparently the poor bastard came back to his staff white as a ghost. Thinking he was losing his mind, he told them about his vanishing shit. They all had to fight back the tears from laughing. It turned out it freaked him out so much. He used to drive 10 minutes off-site to use the bathroom. It freaked him out so much